Hello and welcome back to Fashion and Founders, the podcast. My name is Victoria Smith, and this week I spoke with Jade Beguelin, the co-founder of 4am Skin. You may have seen Jade in one of her TikToks about what hot girls in New York City are gatekeeping, or wearing her viral under eye masks for her brand 4am Skin. Side note, her videos are how I found out about Pickle and the Big Silly Trivia game, so definitely go follow her on TikTok. And in this episode, she not only talks about founding 4am Skin, but she shares some really great tips for growing on social media, with a couple tidbits of some rumblings of what hot girls are currently doing. 4am is not your normal skincare brand. Their launch party was at a club, they've partnered with 818, and their inspiration comes from the downtown girls that are up all night but still look great in the morning. Very different from the current clean girl aesthetic. 4am focuses on minimalism. They've created skincare that's easy enough to do at 4am and actually works. You can find them on REVOLVE, Urban Outfitters, and they just became part of Sephora's 2025 Accelerator class. Jade and her co-founder Sabrina were also just named Forbes 30 Under 30 class of 2025. This was a really fun episode for me because Jade and I both actually went to Georgetown, and she met her co-founder at Georgetown, and there aren't too many people in the fashion and beauty space, so it was really cool to connect with someone else in this industry. Jade shared some really great knowledge on starting a business in your 20s, TikTok tips, and so much more, so let's get into the episode. And this week's highlight is the brand Philippa Made. The founder shared with me, I'm 27 and from Minnesota, but live in Toronto with my husband and our pup Lola. I own my own social media management business and was looking for a way to express myself in other ways outside of work. Getting dressed and tapping into my own personal style has always been so important to me. So doing something with that has been a dream of mine for as long as I can remember. I started Philippa Made on accident. When I shared a TikTok video of a few pieces I had made, I received 40 messages from other girls asking if I was selling what I had made. I decided to throw a lot of eggs in that basket and launch a brand. I flew to New York a few weeks later and shot my core collection with my friend and talented photographer Ava Williams. Since then, I've launched a fall collection, hosted a pop-up in Brooklyn, and made countless pieces for people all over the world. At the beginning of December, I'll be launching my winter collection, which will also be so fun. My personal favorite pieces are the Nancy, named after my mom, and the November, which was part of the fall collection. I rotate between all of the pieces, of course, but I find myself wearing those the most. I think her jewelry is so beautiful. I found her just randomly on Instagram and reached out to her because I was like, I would love to share more about your pieces. I just think they're so beautiful. The stones, the beads are so beautiful. You can also request a custom order. So maybe if you want certain colors that are really special to you or hold certain meaning. I think anytime I can support a small brand and someone who's actually making something themselves, I love taking that opportunity. So definitely go check out Philippa Made. The link to her Instagram will be in the show notes, and I'll share on Instagram as well. Also, if you listen and you have a small business yourself, or maybe you want to nominate a friend of yours, please DM me and send me the brand. I love doing these highlights because I love learning about other people who have a small business and seeing how much talent is out there. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, it would mean so much to me if you can leave a rating or review, and it will help other people find the show. I'm so glad to meet you in person.
Glad to be here.
I actually saw you speak at the venture in the capital, I think it's called, at Georgetown, and had seen your TikToks and knew about 4am, but I really wanted to know more. So I think it's a really unique skincare company. So you can introduce yourself and just talk a little bit more about your background and to 4am.
For sure. Yeah, my name is Jade Beguelin. I'm one of the founders of 4am Skin. We make all-in-one minimal skincare. Easy enough to do at 4am is our favorite tagline. And really, when I found out skincare, fun enough, despite now having a skincare brand, I'm not a skincare junkie. My co-founder really was that person, and she does all like our R&D and things like that. But I remember my first job out of college, I was in New York, I was working on Wall Street, I was working crazy hours, and it was the first time actually that I really felt like I could see really big problems in my skin. And I remember going to my co-founder saying, okay, just tell me what to do and I will do it. She had this laundry list. I'm sure it was an amazing skincare routine if I was actually going to keep up with it, but it was this 10-step skincare routine. And I was just like, there's no way I actually actually end up doing this? And we realized there's this big white space when it came to, I think there was this misconception in the skincare industry of if you're not the skincare junkie, you don't actually care about your skin. But really, I think the large majority of consumers, do they love, is it nice sometimes, every once in a while, to have your whole like skincare ritual at the end of the night? Yes, but really there are also a lot of people who have something quick and easy that they know will work, but still feels elevated. And so that was really like the basis of the brand. And then we thought about the branding and the packaging and things like that, and the naming, and it really came from what we saw as super aspirational of these downtown girls who are going out till 4 a.m. but still look amazing in the morning. Like that, they were truly like the inspiration behind the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I really do think it's like the clean girl aesthetic.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have a 12-step skin routine, like I don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's so crazy. And hey, we've really seen that the simpler you keep your skincare, skincare is really more about consistency over, if you're going to do this like 12 steps once and then go back to not doing it, it's truly not even better. So really, I found this, I ended up like testing so many different products, and then anytime I test like tried, I'm like, oh, like if I just do like throw in this and this and this, and it'll like obviously make my skin better, and it actually works the opposite so much of the time.
I think a lot of people have started seeing that in their skin, and the whole like 12-year-olds going to Sephora, I think everyone's like, we need one thing.
Exactly.
Keep it simple.
Exactly.
And I really like the branding too.
Yeah.
It really attracted me at first when I didn't know that you went to Georgetown, like all these other things. Oh, that's so interesting that they hosted their launch party. How did that kind of come about? Did you know you were like, this is our avenue?
Yeah, that was really, I mean, it was funny because when we started thinking about the brand prior to COVID, prior to 2020, and then it took a really long time for us to actually get a product to market because of COVID and things like that. And so I remember for a long time when we were launching the brand, our whole thing when we thought about our branding was party and like fun, and obviously during the pandemic that was not a thing. And I think so when we actually launched in mid-2021, and that was, I feel like, that time where everyone was coming back. And so that we were like, okay, it's funny because now with like Brat Summer, it feels like a redo, but at the same time, like in 2021, it was very much, everyone was talking about like indies please and like party girls because we were coming out of COVID. I think the whole thing is that party girls are always going to be cool, and we can rebrand it any other way, or we can pretend that it's going to be like that girl who goes to bed at 9 p.m. and wakes up for her 5 a.m. Pilates, but I truly believe that there's always going to be that inspirational, fun girl, however we want to call it. So it was really like when we did the launch in person, one, I knew from, there's so many skincare brands, and I knew that like part of our branding is one thing that is a differentiator. That's one thing that conversation we've always had with editors or retailers, and these are the people who are seeing the most number of brands. So they're like, oh, your brand actually sticks out. And so we wanted to play on that and honestly just have a fun time. Like, I love to go out, so.
And you guys have done some cool partnerships too. And I think it also interesting to hear about like the social media component of it. And you are building in public, some people to say, and how you've navigated that platform, and also finding partnerships that really align with the brand itself.
So one of our first partnerships, so for our launch party, we partnered with Patron, and they did like the bar, and we did these PR packages that were, you got like a little mini bar to follow Patron and coffee, and it was like our first launch with the routine, which was a set of 2 serums for brides and refs, so morning and night. And so we did like a coffee and cocktail for morning and night as well with it. And so at the beginning, we really wanted to make sure that we were partnering with larger brands that spoke. And I think it was nice because we are a brand that's actually authentic for us to have an alcohol partnership. It's actually on brand. And then for our next event, where we did a big, when it was first launching in the East Coast, we did their first co-branded party in New York, which was crazy. It was 4MX 818, and the photography we got from them, that's still like my most fun party, because it was just, we invited probably too many people for the space, but it was a really good group of, there's so many brand events now, and I think brand events are becoming more of a thing just because people are seeing it as this like IRL activation. But we actually don't really think about our brand events in terms of getting content at the brand event. It's more about we want to throw really fun parties that people want to come back to. And I actually almost prefer for people to not take photos at the event because that's not what our customer cares about. And we really want to get to know our community. So most of our events do include, if you bought 4am before, a lot of times you're getting invites to our events. And we really want it to be like an actually fun party that you want to go back to. Because at the end of the day, all these activations that are happening now for in-person activations, it's very much about a step and shoot. And at the end of the day, that party doesn't end up being fun. And no one cares about your photo at this event. Yeah. What I care about when I'm buying skincare is, oh, does that person actually using it? And are they talking about it in their empties video? And so really it was like an easy way for us to get to know our community, get to know the influencers who actually end up loving the product, and then hopefully they'll post about that later on, but they don't need to post about the party.
Yeah. I feel like we didn't even get to like how you became a founder, because you have a huge brand like 818 or like finding these really amazing partnerships, hosting really cool events that are covered by Vogue.
Yeah.
Like how did you get here? Because you're still quite a young founder.
So my first job out of school was in finance, but pretty quickly I knew that wasn't for me. And I worked at a growth marketing agency called Ampush, and we worked with that company itself. Worked with Glossier, Birchbox, Casper, a lot of the direct-to-consumer darlings. So I really got to learn how to look at things from a paid marketing perspective, and seeing we would do their Facebook ads, Instagram ads, it's all on Meta. We would do their landing pages and stuff like that. So I really got to learn how these businesses thought about their online marketing. And so actually when we started 4am, I was still doing that full time. It was a year and a half before into the brand that I think of like how we launched in like mid 2021. I'm like, wow, that seems so long ago. But like a lot of it was off to the side on the weekends, really not like a real thing. So actually I don't know how I got to where it is now. I think there's a lot of hype around building a brand very quickly, but I actually think, and you're like, oh, like we grew this much in a year, but I think for a lasting brand, and if you have a truly strong brand story, it takes time. I think we've refined our messaging a lot over time.
So you started 4am while you had a full-time job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fully go into this.
Yeah, I wish I could pretend and say that it was a smart financial decision when I did leave my full-time job, because it really was not. Like the business was not in a place where I could pay myself. But basically my last job, it was really when my full-time job went back to be in person. And I just like literally, I felt bad. Like I was managing a team at that point. And I remember we had a junior analyst on my team that obviously I'm supposed to be mentoring and teaching how to do things. And I literally was doing such a bad job. Like I actually felt bad. I really hope it was 2 girls. I like am horrified that they're like going around and being like, I worked on this girl, she didn't do anything. And so like that gave me like so much anxiety. And then I felt on like the business side, there was no strategy going on. We were just like catching knives. And so it was truly that. And so in my head, the decision I was making was, even though this business can't fund me right now, I was also doing some TikTok at the time. So I was getting like not enough brand deals to live my life how I was living it, but I had saved some money. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself I was like, I can survive for 6 months. Let's give myself 6 months, and worst comes to worst, I'm highly employable. I can go back and find a new job. I haven't tested that theory yet. So like, I don't know. I've heard the job market is very hard. So it may have been delusional that I was like, the corporate job will always be here. But in my head, I was basically thinking, okay, like the momentum we have for the brand now, I can't put that on pause for a year and come back, but a corporate job I can.
Yeah. How did you meet your co-founder?
We actually met at Georgetown. So we were really good friends in undergrad, and she was 2 years below me. And so I always knew that I wanted to start a business. I just didn't really know what. She was always obsessed with skincare. And so it's really nice because she is really good, obviously, at all the science stuff. And as well as she has a bit more of an aesthetic eye than I do. If it was just me building the brand, it'd probably be kind of ugly. I am more on like the growth side and the operations side. So making sure we don't run out of money, and also trying to like, sometimes the content that does well, sometimes the content that sells is not necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing content. I'm better at that sort of content versus the vibey stuff. Yeah. And it has to be a mix of both. But
I feel like that's really what TikTok is, though.
Exactly. I've been trying to like, especially on Instagram, because I'm just afraid of TikTok getting banned and stuff, but trying to diversify and do reels, I guess. But I truly, like, I'm really bad at it because I literally don't have an, like, she'll take a photo of something and it'll be like cool and vibey. I'll take a photo and it's like glare and ugly.
Well, I mean, your TikToks do really well.
Thank you, yeah.
I found out, I just talked to Julia of Pickle. And
Oh, yeah.
I found out about Pickle through one of your TikToks.
Oh, yeah.
What Hot Girls in
yeah.
New York are doing.
That was wild. Like, that series has done really well, and it's crazy to see the impact that TikTok can have. Like, it's had an incredible impact on my business, but I remember, like, the number of people who told me about the pickle thing, and then also that video got picked up by a couple of news outlets who then wrote about all the things that I talked about in it. And then I remember the other thing in that specific video, so I think I also wrote about therapy clinic, which has like laser hair removal.
Yeah.
The CEO of that, and it's like a European company, but this was like their first New York location, and I remember the CEO of the company called me, and she was like, we had to hire more people to do the phones because so many people were calling to make appointments.
Wow. Like, can I get a little...
Oh, yeah. No, I do have free laser days to life. Anytime I want to go, I can go. So I'm like, yes!
So love that you keep making videos.
Yeah.
And also how I found out about the Big Silly Trivia game.
Yeah.
You really do have an
I'm
eye
like
for
chronically
Big Silly.
online.
Yeah.
Like, I think about that too, and I think that's why the brand stood out. The brand itself has stayed, I think, very relevant for longer than... I think there's a lot of things people talk about, like influencers and stuff like that, and I think there's always those people who I know a lot of my friends will take my recommendations and things like that, and I think that's always been my thing. I feel like you have to be so chronically online. I think that's
it is
always
kind
my
of a skill
problem.
set to know, though.
I have a 12-hour screen time.
Honestly, same.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Do you have any like rumblings of what you are seeing right now?
Yes.
I know you just
do.
posted one.
Yes, I do. No, but I have new ones because I've been thinking about I need to do another one. Okay, so I think hair cuffs. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like metal in your hair. Yeah. I think hair cuffs. I was thinking of another one. The hair cuffs is the big one. There was one other one. I'll have to come back to it because there was another one that I think, but haircuts I think are big, especially for fall because I feel like it's all about people have been doing a lot of bangles. And I think there's a lot to do, and I know you talk a lot about like sustainable fashion and stuff. I find it really interesting because I'm not really a jewelry person, but now that I make content, I try and force myself to become more of a jewelry person, and this is like a weird growth path
Like show it, kind of.
Because anything you can do online to have someone stick to a video like a little bit longer, and so when you have a lot of jewelry on, people are like, it gives people more of a chance to be like, oh, that ring I like. And if you notice, all your favorite influencers, none of them are really minimal. I feel like everyone who posts online has like stacks of jewelry on. One, because they're gifted so much stuff that they can do that. Like, it's an insanely expensive thing to have 30, like, bracelets and stuff on. But I think a lot of it, too, is because it increases your engagement on videos. Because it makes people look a little bit longer. And then maybe they'll comment, oh, what's your... Same thing for nails. Like, I used to not always get my nails done. But, like, now I always have my nails done because I talk with my hands. And it makes people, like, look a little bit longer. Especially a cool, interesting nail.
Or comment and be like, well, where'd you get that? Right?
Exactly. And the more jewelry and things you have on, the more engaging it can be.
That's a good actual growth.
Yeah,
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
And I think those videos do so well because it's so authentic. They're not paid partnerships.
Yeah.
And
no, I've never done any like paid partnerships for
Really?
them. No. I remember I recommended this bowl and I had gone to this bowl and I remember they DM'd me before and being like, oh, if you want to, like, we're opening, and gave me a free bowl. But I remember someone was in the comments being like, this will definitely pay you. I'm like, no, I was given a free bowl and I had tried it. I've gone like 4 times and I just saw that everyone was going.
It is really good. I've gone like multiple times.
Yeah. I live 2 blocks away. It's so dangerous.
Really?
Yeah.
I think because those videos are so authentic, then people are like, okay, I'll actually take her word on other stuff. And the skincare and the eye patches are like the hero product in a way.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are launching something new.
Yeah.
You were saying.
We are launching something new. We're launching wipes, like face wipes.
Oh.
I don't want to call them makeup wipes, but they're basically, they will remove makeup. But we're really trying to make them face wash like on the go. They're like, the launch will come. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but they're coming soon.
Because then my next question was, one, how do you come up with a product because it's expensive?
Yeah.
And R&D for skincare, it's intense. Like you're not just making a shirt, you're not just making something. You have to go through certain rules because if it breaks out, they might try to sue you.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot more. I mean, because we've been in business since 2021, so like 3 years now, which is crazy. And we have 3 products. Like we are not. There's multiple reasons for that. One is our whole thing is minimalism. It's very hard for us to launch new products because a lot of people ask, oh, like when are you guys coming out with a cleanser? Because then you can have we would have someone's entire skincare routine. And we haven't launched a cleanser yet. And it's truly because I'm like, there's really good cleansers on the market for really cheap. And until I can find a reason for it to act that it's actually different from what's on the market, I will not launch something. I just cannot talk about it. And so there's that reason. We're really picky with having products actually be different, and it's really hard to come up with a different product. And that's probably detrimental to our revenue at the end of the day. That's how a lot of brands just increase revenue every year, is by having new launches. And then secondly, it's like a really, really big investment. We don't have any institutional funding. So like for our next product, it is a humongous MOQ with minimum order quantity to do these. And all of our formulas are custom to us. So it's not like something off the shelf that we can buy and just stamp our sticker on. Yeah. And so it literally took us this long to develop a formula, but also have enough cash in the bank from our other products to fund this new launch. So it's those 2 reasons.
Yeah. But I think that makes the brand more genuine.
Exactly, yeah.
Just throwing things around.
Exactly, yeah. There are ways where you can find manufacturers who have like off-the-shelf private label things where it's like, oh, we already have this formula made, and the minimum order quantity is like 100 units instead of 5,000. But yeah, that's not
it's not worth it. Yeah. And you guys also have the products in Revolve, which is very cool. That's a huge step for a brand.
Yeah, we're at Revolve and Urban Outfitters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Urban had reached out to us, and then Revolve, I just had cold emailed. I'd worked with them as an influencer before, and I remember it's a big company, and the girl who like sends me the free clothes I had the email being like, hey, by the way, thanks so much. I don't know if you know, but I have a skincare brand. I would love to see if it could be a fit at Revolve. And she like gave me like a very generic email. It was like not of a person. It was like, I'm not gonna say it, but in case I don't want to bombard that email, but it was like a bit generic, like department email. And I was like, okay, this is alright, blowing me off. That's fine. And then I sent that email, and I sent them like, hey, like this is my brand. Here's our brand deck. I think it would be a great fit for Revolve for these reasons. And then they like replied back, and it was a really quick process.
Oh, amazing. I'm curious because I feel like you have had so many experiences building this brand. If you have any founder business advice, because I do remember, I think that's from your TikTok, not the event, but you said something that really stuck out to me. And the past few months I've been kind of trying to do a startup, and it just really hit home. And it was on the lines of, if you are an entrepreneur, you don't have someone telling you you're doing a good job. Yeah. Like you could work really hard on something and see nothing from it, and no one's gonna, but you tried. Yeah. And I remember just really feeling that, because I worked so hard on something and it just fell through. And no one's gonna pat me on the back for trying.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not getting paid hourly to try.
I'm not getting paid. This sucks. But
yeah. I mean, I think the biggest barrier to entry with entrepreneurship now is truly just following through with things. I think I truly don't think a business is built off of an idea. It's based off of, there's very few companies now that are built off of like just a truly genuine idea. Even if you think about Uber, right? There's also Lyft. There's a lot of other people who are trying this as well. I think at the end of the day, I mean, they might have had first movers advantage. I don't know the story, but a lot of it is actually execution and actually going ahead and doing it. So I think that's the number one thing to realize and I think so many people fall into this trap of thinking that they need to ask a ton of experts questions on how to do it, when doing it is, they won't have an answer for you, or like they will tell you what you already know. Like so many people ask me, oh, how did you start protecting your? I'm like, I took the phone out that you also have a phone and you also have this app, and I just pressed record. So many people will go, oh, but like I've been posting, I only get like 300 like views. I'm like, I have 1,300 videos that I've posted. if you tell me that you've made 1,300 videos and you're still getting no views, then you can talk to me. But I truly am convinced that if you were to put in the reps, and it's not even, like the algorithm, you need to feed like 5 to 6 videos and etc. It's not that. It's that you make 10 videos, you'll see which ones do well, and then you'll start emulating the ones that do well. And it's more about giving yourself the practice of actually doing it. And like, I'll see videos of myself from like a year ago that I made, and it's like I was speaking much slower, or I wasn't cutting things as fast, or the lighting was bad. And now I've like learned, okay, now I speak at this cadence, and I start the videos with something interesting, and I end halfway through a sentence, and you just see what's worse.
And that consistency too.
Yeah.
'Cause it's so easy, like, I tried for a week.
Yeah. I just bring me someone who has posted 1,400 videos and does not have 50,000 followers. I actually don't believe that person exists, unless it's like a black wall.
Yeah. I'm waiting on the topic of TikTok, like for Alex Burrows, like discovering your brand. Like, I feel like she's like
I know. We've tried to get in touch in many.
I'm sure just like she's bombarded.
And we don't have the same budget as like Hero Cosmetics or whoever she's working with. Like, I understand that. I think that's also like a thing that we have to understand as a small brand is you have to think of cheaper ways to like meet people, or also you just have to have like a really good product. Like, I'm not going to pay, like, I know what these girls are getting paid to do these promotions, so I'm not going to try and compete on that. I do think that they bring value to brands, etc. But I think for us, it's been really speaking directly to our customers has been like the most helpful thing.
What are your vision for 4am in the future? Do you have not necessarily like a 5-year plan, like, oh, I would love to do this event or work with this person or a product?
Yeah. I think I really want to expand into the combination of like makeup and skincare, and also more functional body care. I really think the minimalism aspect to it actually doesn't leave us a ton of room for expansion like within one category. And how we've thought about all of our products is we really want to be combining steps in someone's routine or elevating something that currently doesn't feel special. So I think like widening that out and then getting into one of the big beauty retailers is really a big goal for me.
Really cool. And I'd love to end by asking people if they have like a meaningful story or a piece, or maybe it's what you wore to the launch, who knows, but anything that sticks out to you.
Yeah, I think my favorite, so I actually have a friend who worked at Area, the brand, and so for our launch, actually me and Sabrina wore matching Area outfits, and like we got to go into their, I think it's called like their atelier or whatever, and have them fit it and all that stuff. So it was so cool to see the behind the scenes. At the time, Area was a little bit earlier on, and I don't know, maybe they have it the same atelier, but it was like in like Chinatown. There weren't that many people, but it was so cool to see the work that they put behind the brand, and like at least just get to wear it for a night.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, like, that was the one photo of us that's in Vogue for that, which was like really cool. And probably like another piece, I recently, not right now, but I almost only exclusively wear black, and I'm trying to get better at buying stuff secondhand. Also eBay, because I feel like there's like so many finds on eBay, but I just don't like, I can like search the real and like and not even Poshmark, like that's a lie. But like eBay, I feel like is like the final frontier where you get like the good stuff. And I got last winter this like humongous vintage fur coat. I'm fine with fur if it's secondhand is what I'm like, my thought process.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's out there. It's already out there. Like we might as well like make sure it gets used. And it's literally so humongous, mob wig vibe, and I'm obsessed with it.
Oh, I love that. I think eBay is that last place where you'll find a good deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Depop is so price hiked.
Exactly.
This isn't thrifting anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you bought that off of eBay and now you're reselling it for double the price.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this was amazing, and I'm really, yes, most of the ones I've done are on sustainable fashion, but I'm really interested in expanding more in like the beauty space and just talking to founders in general. Yeah, I learned so much from it each time, and so I'm so happy to have had this conversation with you and that we could meet in person.
Yeah, thanks for having me.